Well, so I did that the last time we did a live stream, and I'm trying to frighten Jason. Hiya, welcome to whoever's watching this on the replay, because we are live, of course, and no one's in yet, but hopefully we'll get some people in. So this is the first of the new year for the WWE panel shows. Unfortunately, we had to miss TLC as I had some technical problems. Namely, my laptop was being an absolute dog's toilet. It was. When I get rich, I will upgrade it to something much better, because this thing is it's barely worth the little money it cost. Anyway, this is the Royal Rumble preview show. The Royal Rumble is one of my favorite. In fact, it probably is my favorite pay-per-view of the year.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited, and plus it's like the start of a new season as well, and we'll get on to TLC results and overall 2019 results in a few moments. Even though we weren't able to do the TLC panel show, we still made our predictions in a chat group, so there is continuity. But I, of course, want to introduce you to all of my illustrious co-panelists. First up is Rach Kappa. Hiya, Rach.
Hi, Jimmy. Hi, guys.
Happy New Year, Rach.
Happy New Year.
I mean, I know it's near the end of January, but it's Happy Chinese New Year. I think that's.
I wasn't going to say anything.
Not yet.
Not yet. No.
Right, but yeah. Anyway, Happy New Year, Rach, and Happy Chinese New Year, and everything else. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. You're looking forward to the Royal Rumble?
I am. I do enjoy the theme. Who's gonna go in as a surprise entry?
Yeah, I like a nice surprise entrant. Shut up, Jason.
And how Kofi's gonna survive the elimination?
Yeah. And I was going to make a comment about someone in the women's rumble, but no, I think I'll save that for when we preview the match. So yeah, we've also, of course, got all the way from Canada. We've got Vicky the Night Owl. Hi, Vicky.
Hey, Jimmy.
Happy New Year to you as well.
Yeah, Happy New Year. And how do they say it? Gung Hei Fat Choi is the Chinese Happy New Year.
Oh, Vicky knows a bit of, that'll be either Mandarin or Cantonese, presumably.
Probably Mandarin or Chinese, but yeah, they usually say, because we have a few here, but I'm doing okay. Doing pretty good.
Good. You excited about the Royal Rumble?
Absolutely. Actually, this is one of my favorite pay-per-views because, like you said, the surprise, you never know who's coming out next. Not too happy with the number one placement, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. There's quite a lot to talk about, I suppose. But good. And of course, last but by no means least, he is not suitable for mum. Particularly my mum. I've warned her off. I've said don't go anywhere near him. It is Jason Clow. Welcome, Jace.
Howdy doody.
How are you, mate? You all right?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Doing good.
Happy New Year to you as well, Jason. I've spoken to you a multitude of times between January the 1st and today, so, it's the start of a new year, start of a new season for us, and I hope you're excited about it, mate.
I am, very much so. It should be a good one.
Yep, 2019. I mean, this is kind of like an anniversary stream for me and you, Jason, I suppose.
Oh, yeah,
it would have been last year's Rumble when we did our first preview show.
It was indeed.
Where it all started, and then Rach joined us a month or two afterwards, and Vicky, the month after that. But we're all here for the Rumble, so we all can do our predictions, and we'll all have equal amount of predictions this year, I would have thought. I know we're doing it by the averages thing, weren't we, Jace?
That's it,
yeah.
Made it fair for everybody.
Yeah, well, I'll leave that up to you, all that sort of thing. So you felt that was the fairest way of doing it. So I'm sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited to learn the results of who. I mean, I think I know who probably won last year's, but I know it was quite close. So I think Jason, before you tell us our 2019 prediction champion, you should tell us how everyone did for tables, ladders, and chairs.
Okay, well, let me have a look. First of all, so in joint third place was me and Vicky with 3.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy, you had 4.
Oh, okay.
And of course, Rachel won because she had 5.
Way to go, Ray.
Well, I think that I'm guessing that's probably confirmed the result for the 2019 overall table. But well done
Pretty
on winning
much.
Chelsea, Rach. You've been a strong and consistent predictor throughout 2019. So
Very much
yeah,
so.
big hand for Rach there, and I get the feeling it's not going to be the last round of applause you get either. So Rach has won TLC. Jason, tell us the final 2019 prediction results, please.
You'll have to bear with me.
Do it in reverse order.
Yeah, obviously. I'm just trying to work out because some of them are very close together. Rightio. So, in 4th place, but a very brave attempt, seeing as she came in a bit after the rest of us, with 5.09 is Vicky.
Well done, Vicky.
Yay.
I think everyone's scored pretty close. Almost 6. I think that's not a bad score for the year.
Yep. Then it was me with 5.57.
Oh, Jason
Nice.
in 3rd place.
Congratulations.
Well done, Jay.
And then in 2nd place with Jimmy with 5.78.
Okay.
And although
close.
it was close, Rach kind of ran away with it at the end with 6.35.
Yeah, that's quite a
go.
big gap opening up really between first and second. So yeah, absolutely well done, Rach. I had a feeling after probably through the year that you were probably going to continue to win. You know what? Rach? I think all this wrestling that you watch, because every time you tell us that you're doing something, it's like it's usually you're watching some sort of wrestling, like on New Japan or Progress or something. So I don't know if all this wrestling that you watch for us just helps you, just kind of you're in the mindset and you know how these predictions are going to go. But
you know what it is, don't you?
Right.
You know what it is. She's saying like she's waiting until she's got enough money, and then she's going to set up her own wrestling promotion.
And why not? I can think of worse things to do.
Yeah. Hire me as a manager. I'll be a manager.
So there we are.
Yeah. Well done.
Oh, we've got Bearded Geek reviews in the chat. Hiya, Dale. You all right, mate? Hope you're well.
Hello,
Thank
buddy.
you for joining us. So, just announced Rach as our 2019 wrestling pay-per-view prediction champion. So, Rachel, now we start all over again. This is your title to defend now. So, who will beat Rachel? Let's tune in this time next year to find out our next champion.
Yeah.
Until then, good night, everyone.
That's it. Yeah, finished.
See ya. No.
Right.
Hiya, Craig.
Pop
Craig
out
Bell's
chat.
in. Thank you for coming in, Craig. Hope you're well.
Hi, Craig, mate.
So yeah, 2020 Royal Rumble first pay-per-view of the year. I know there is a network event on tonight. It's not one that we're going to be talking about particularly, as I don't think it's massively pertinent to any NXT or NXT UK storylines going on, but there should be some good matches on it. It's
Very
kind of
much
like a
so.
standalone show. I think
Yeah.
Worlds Collide will be. I'm looking forward to watching it tomorrow morning, but it's not something that I'd. But,
If it's anything like Blackpool, it should be very good.
yeah, I mean that actually had like storylines going through, and I know kind of Worlds Collide does as well. It's got because like we've had Imperium interfering with Undisputed Era and vice versa, but it's.
Yeah, I mean
it's replaced a takeover. This has so
it's not much on the grand scale of things, but the only thing you might see is a bit of swapping over with some of the roster maybe as a result.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know the last year's Worlds Collide, it was like a taped thing, and it involved 205 Live. So
Yeah.
I think it might have been some sort of tournament and battle royal as well. So it's quite different this time, but it's still this NXT versus NXT UK thing. But if we've got the chat, we've got Nick Adams in the chat. Hello, Nick Adams, coming in. Someone called Steve. Hello, Steve.
Hello, guys.
So yeah, thank you to all those in the chat for joining us. So yeah, the 2020 Royal Rumble, my favourite event of the year. I can't wait for the Rumble. It's like sort of wrestling Christmas Day for me. So yeah, really excited. Even more. I mean, WrestleMania is always a good weekend, or it's longer than a weekend really if you count every other event that's taking place.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
Actually, WrestleMania itself, I mean, last year's it was just too long really. I was kind of I was just drained from it by then, by the end of it. But 2020 Royal Rumble, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm sure the rest of you are as well. So we need to get on to predict all the matches. Rach is going to take up her, as she had last year, of running down all the matches for us. So do it in whatever order you feel works best, Rach.
Okay. Well, the first match I've actually got written down is the United States Championship. Andreas versus Humberto.
Yeah, United States title. Andrade defending against Humberto Carrillo. Sorry, just before we go into that, I'm just going to address something Craig said. He felt the TakeOver Blackpool 2 was poor pay-per-view, no title changes. Well, I will disagree with you on that, Craig. I really enjoyed that. I thought it was a really strong wrestling show. That I understand what you're saying. It might have been pretty cool for there to be even one title change, but I mean, it's easy to say this in hindsight and try and look smug. But if I was predicting that show, I wouldn't have predicted title changes. So, but I wasn't predicting it, and it would have been cool if there was.
Yeah.
If I was to book a title change for that show, it would have probably been not the women's title, I don't think. Although maybe. I don't know. Maybe I would have put the tag team titles back on grizzled young veterans, perhaps. Maybe I don't know. It doesn't matter anyway. So yeah, United States title. Sorry to go off on a tangent there, folks. United States title: Andrade versus Humberto Carrillo. This sounds like it could be a pre-show match to me. It's kind of weird one, but well, we shall see tomorrow, no doubt, or they might announce it a little before time. Oh, this is going to be on the pre-show, so please watch our pre-show so we can flog the pay-per-view or the network subscription, as it were. Rachel, who have you got for this one?
I can't see Andreas dropping the belt. Mainly because I actually think Ray's going to take it off him. So I'm going to go say Humberto.
You think Humberto Carrillo will be the new champion? Okay. Right, so one for Humberto Carrillo. Victoria, what do you think?
I'm kind of had a hard time trying to figure this one out, watching everything that's been going on, but I want to see a rivalry between Ray and Humberto because Humberto's so young and everything else. But for me, I can't see them taking the title off of Andrade yet because Ray still has a lot of harsh feelings towards Andrade. So for me, I'm going to go with Andrade on this one.
Andrade to retain. So Vicky differs from Rach there. Just before I get to you, Jace. Hello, Music Geek. Thank you for coming in. Dale asks, do you guys think Finn Balor has been wasted? You're genuinely disappointed about how he's been underutilized and looks almost weak, barring his title win. I think being back on NXT is helping him in the short term. I'm not sure I'm not sure if he should be there long term. I'm a bit because even though I love NXT, it's my favorite weekly wrestling show. When you're a former Universal Champion, the first Universal Champion, it does, and then you put on NXT again, where you started out in WWE.
Yeah.
It does kind of look to a casual fan, and maybe to fans like us who are more than casual, it kind of looks like a step back. And as much as I love NXT, it's I don't know. Well, he made it to the main roster. Is this like a demotion sort of thing? But I don't know. So I like seeing him back on NXT now. But
I think
I don't know.
It seems to me that all but in name he's going back to his New Japan persona because he's calling himself the Prince again.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really enjoying the heel turn. I like how he's now got like a real edge to him, whereas, when you saw him on Raw and SmackDown sort of 6 months ago, it was just kind of coming out just sort of like smiling like a great soppy pants, and like there was nothing, apart from the rare occasions that let him be the demon, there was just nothing to him. It was like a generic smiley baby face, and it was like, well, this is shit, And now, even if they'd not turned him heel, he still had that a kind of more of a better edge on NXT. But the fact that they have turned him heel means he's got that proper sort of, slightly sinister, almost sort of, aloof arrogance kind of edge to him now as well.
I kind of think too, though, like they're doing the same thing with him that they did with Neville. Neville came in strong and everything else. They really used him well, and then all of a sudden, Neville just kind of petered out and disappeared. Right? So I think they kind of did the same thing with Finn Balor, but I think Finn Balor had the smarts to go back to NXT and reassert himself. I think that was a good idea in a way.
Yeah. I mean, wrestling wise, and speaking as a fan of the product, I'm really happy to see such a talented guy. The match he had, the one I watched on NXT this week, it was against Joaquin Wild, is his name, the former Zima Iron guy. It was a great. Say it was a squash. That was one of the best squash matches I'd seen in ages. Just Finn Balor was pure intensity from start to finish. Hello, Pages Films and Plastics. Thank you for coming in. Nice to see you. Craig Bell is predicting Humberto Carrillo to win via DQ. So we better get back to the United States Championship because Jason, Chloe, and myself need to make our predictions. Not suitable for Mum. Who have you got in this match?
Oh, it's a tough one. John, I think, has been quite a good champ, actually. He's seems to have sort of stepped up a bit. He's elevated himself. Not, I know he's always been good, but he just seems to have got that little extra step up. And I think they'd be daft to take the title off him now. For that reason alone, I think I'm going to go with him. But I do think it's going to be a good, strong match. I think it'll surprise people.
Yeah. For me, I think it's good that Humberto Carrillo is getting this kind of relatively prominent, albeit mid-card, undercard opportunity. He's a young guy, but I agree with what you and Vicky are kind of saying about Andrade. He's not been champion very long. I think he needs a pretty good, a pretty lengthy US title run.
Yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me if they decided to do the switch and then maybe switch it back on the following night on Raw or whenever. But I'm gonna go with the majority. I'm gonna say that Andrade is gonna retain the title in this match. I think
one thing I think you might get is possibly something set up for, if not Mania, then whatever pay-per-view's next. I think you could be seeing some kind of three-way fight between, Ray included, obviously.
There'll be the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view and Fastlane. Oh, and there's another Saudi show as well before WrestleMania.
It's in February, end of the month, I think.
Yeah, so that's one I need to I need to remember. I need to like get it trained in my head that's coming up, because obviously,
Even though they're usually crap.
If that's but it's classed as a pay-per-view, so we need to at least predict it and then sort out times for stream, because they can sometimes be on like a Friday. If I was one of them on a Thursday, I think
it could well be, yeah.
Last one,
because it coincides to a degree with AEW again.
Yeah.
So so I think there'll be 3 pay-per-views between Rumble and Mania. So plenty of time, plenty of opportunity theoretically for this feud to continue, and I think it will, and I think it needs to build up Andrade as a credible champion, and to build up Humberto as a next generation star. I know Vince McMahon was supposedly quite high up on Andrade last year, and he seems to be finally getting a bit more of a push. He's just, I suppose, had to be patient with it. I think is he engaged or married to Charlotte Flair, one or the other? Don't think that helps. I don't think that hinders. Put it that way. I think when you're in bed with one of the more high-profile female wrestlers in the company, that's not going to harm your spot particularly. But anyway, Rach, what's the next match you've got for us in the Royal Rumble?
The next match I've got is the SmackDown's Women's Championship, Bayley versus Lacey Evans.
Yep, SmackDown title, Bayley defending against Lacey Evans. Well, I have actually been able to watch Raw and SmackDown again for the last couple of weeks. I watched SmackDown this morning, and Lacey Evans cut quite a... It was a scripted promo, because they always are, but it was, you could tell there was some genuine emotion in there, and then sort of Bayley came out and attacked her at the end of it. So I never thought Lacey Evans would particularly work as a heel, but she as a babyface, sorry. But I always thought she was like a natural heel, but they've put her in this kind of babyface, almost sort of all-American former troop type role, and she seems to be making a pretty good fist of it. But Rachel, who have you got for this one?
How long's Bayley been champion?
Quite a while. It's been since certainly Survivor Series at least, weren't it? It was like, has it been about September, October-ish?
Yeah.
It's got to be 3 or 4 months.
It's definitely at least 3, I think, by now.
So I think now is the time to get the belt off her. I think they've not been doing anything. Her character hasn't really gone very far now. Since she turned heel, they haven't really done much with Bayley's character. And so I think Lacey's gonna win.
Okay. Right, Rach is predicting. Rach has predicted 2 new champions already in Humberto and Lacey Evans. Let me just have a little scroll up and just check some of these comments before we go to Vicky. Reviews. Dale has said Shinsuke, Neville, Balor to me should be top of the game, not the mid card. Well, yeah, I would totally agree with that, Dale. Absolutely. Craig says the last Saudi show wasn't so much a pay-per-view balls up, more than getting back to the States within 24 hours for SmackDown. Oh God, yeah, that was a farce, wasn't it? Pages Films and Plastic says lately in WWE there's been a lot of overrating of poor wrestlers like Humberto Carrillo, Andrade. I wouldn't call them poor wrestlers. Yeah, if you talk about their characters, then yeah, they've got like sort of kind of slightly nondescript characters. Well, Humberto certainly, Andrade to a lesser extent. But I think as actual performers, I don't think there's anything wrong with them. He also says Rude, Dolph Ziggler. This one should have been retired a long time ago, in your opinion. Even Mysterio should retire already. All his matches are fixed. Finishing move 619. Well, yeah, I mean, fair enough. Pages, thank you for sharing that. We're all entitled to to our opinion. Mysterio, I don't think he's got an awful lot left in his career because he's been going for, God, he must have been wrestling for nearly 30 years now.
Something like
And,
that.
At least
you know, he's still, yeah. So, but, well, yeah. Vicky, it's Bailey versus Lacey. Who have you got for this one?
I kind of agree with Rach on the whole, like, Bailey's had the title long enough thing. And I think because of the fact that Sasha and Bailey are supposed to be good friends, I like what Craig said about Sasha interfering and causing Bailey to lose. I think that could be something that could happen, and then the two of them are going to go against each other or whatever. But I think Lacey has really stepped up, and you know, they did a little thing on the show The Bump where they showed her at home, and she really is that rough and tumble girl you see in the ring and out of the ring, right? She believes in hunting and camping for her food and really, you know, and whatever. So it shows in her character as well, which I really like to see, is someone being themselves, but also being that character. Anyways, I'm going to say that Lacey's going to take this one as well.
Okay, fair enough. Paige says my opinions could be unusual, so no, that's fine. I mean, you know, I like to hear, you know, whatever you truly feel is what you feel. You know, it's great to hear, you know, all sides of an argument, really. Just going back to the Lacey being this kind of hunting person. I mean, Jason, I mean, you were. You know, I think we can say you can be quite camp at times. So, is that something that resonates for you, mate? Yeah, you don't want to do your John Inman for us, then.
Sorry, say again. I didn't hear that bit.
You don't want to do your John Inman for us, then.
No. I can't do John Inman. I can't get to that high level.
Oh, he'll be disappointed about that. Well, he would be if he was still alive. But anyway, not suitable for Mum. The SmackDown Women's title. What are your thoughts on this one?
Okay. Well, I think Lacey's has actually proven herself quite a bit now. She's, I want to keen on her first of all. I still don't really like the sassy Southern Belle business, right? Yeah, the mum and being an ex-Marine, all that's fine. But it's all there, you know, coming in and look at me sort of thing, and don't I look nice and all the rest of it. You know, it's like, oh, yeah, whatever. But she's a good wrestler. And I think she's been there a little while now, hasn't she?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, if you include NXT, then it must be well over 2 years. I would say getting on for 3 years. I would have thought at least.
Yeah. So I mean, the thing is, she's had all the business with Becky, and all right, obviously you weren't expecting her to win that because she was relatively new in the main roster. But I think it may just be her time. Out of all the ones that are sort of there at the moment, she seems to have got the biggest push, and she's certainly over with the fans.
Yeah.
So it would make sense to put the belt on her. So I will go with Lacey as well.
Okay, right. So we've got another for Lacey. Just looking at the comments, Craig Bell says the talk is of Sasha versus Bailey at Mania. Yeah, you'd have thought that's what they're heading towards. You could have said that a couple of years ago, really, couldn't you? And then Sasha had a sort of time off last year. And Ian Wrestling King 83, welcome. Thank you for coming in. He predicted Bailey to win. I need to make my prediction. Oh God, I'm kind of torn on this one now. Before we started talking about it, I was kind of certain who I was going to pick, and I'm not there. Bailey needed to turn heel, I think. Whether it's worked as well as I think it's worked all right. I'm in a minority there, but I kind of like seeing heel Bailey, even though as much as I loved her babyface persona, that was something that I felt worked better at NXT rather than in larger arenas anyway. As for Lacey Evans, totally agree with you, Jace, about how she's improved. And although the Southern Belle character I'm not particularly fond of, It's obvious, whenever you talk about someone then that's going to get you a decent babyface push in Vince McMahon's world, because he's got a constant boner for any sort of armed forces thing, hasn't he? Well, let's be honest.
Yeah. It's true. It is. It's true.
It is true.
He loves all that sort of stuff. So he probably, as soon as he probably got to know Lacey a bit, he actually talked to her and
Get the old flag waving.
Yeah, we can do something with that. Oh yeah, I'll get you a title run soon. So I was. Before I started, I thought, I'm going to pick Bayley for this. I think Bayley's going to be champion right up until at least WrestleMania, but I don't know now. I think I'm going to go with Lacey Evans to become the new women's champion. I think that's where this push is heading, and why not happen at the Royal Rumble?
Yep. Before we carry on, someone somewhere has got an echo again.
That's not me.
Well,
Yeah, I'm getting a choppity chip, a bit of a sound feedback in the background.
I don't know.
Can't say I've noticed too much. I mean, I always hear sort of like odd little bit, like I can kind of hear myself echoing very slightly in my own ears, but I just haven't used to it really. As long as we can all hear each other and people in the comments can understand us, I think that's that's the main thing.
Just wondering if anybody's got the TV on.
Standards are pretty low on this channel, so this isn't ITV you're dealing with here, so don't worry about it, mate. Yeah, we'll get to it.
All right, Richard Whitmore.
Craig says that stuff NSFM has started to be dropped from Lacey's character. Yeah. I mean, I remember they referred to her as the Southern Belle on. I was watching it this morning, but they seem to be phasing it gradually. Avid has come in. Hey everyone, hope you're good. Yep, thank you for coming in, Avid. Okay, all right, Rach, what's our next match for the Royal Rumble, please?
I've got Shorty G versus Sheamus, which, when I first read this, because I haven't watched this week's SmackDown yet, I thought it was a very bit of an odd match to be announced.
Sounds a bit like filler in a way, doesn't it? But although you wouldn't really need a lot of filler at the Rumble, I don't know. I don't know if this will be pre-show or not, really, because I don't know. Sheamus is he's a former world champion. It's a big enough deal to sort of have quite a high-profile pay-per-view match rather than just sort of quietly put him on the pre-show. I mean, presumably both of those are going to be in the Rumble anyway. But yeah, Rach, if you.
Well, I think Sheamus only just come back, so maybe this is the match to ease him back into the main roster. Because he's been out for a long time, hasn't he, Sheamus?
Yeah, he had quite a long-term injury. He's been out about 9 months, maybe even a bit more.
Yeah. Something like that,
So, with saying that, I think he's going to win, because obviously he's come back, so it doesn't make much sense of him losing his first match back. Well, his first pay-per-view match back.
Right, so Sheamus, brilliant. Okay, Vicky, who have you got?
Pardon?
Oh,
sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm going to go with Rach on this one, too. I'm going to say Sheamus because, like she said, he's been gone for quite a while. He's really been promoted a lot lately on Raw and stuff like that, where in SmackDown, where he's come in and give his little "I'm back, you're screwed" type of speech, So I'm thinking this would be a good match for him to come back and win.
Yeah. Okay, to Sheamus. Jason, who have you got? Sheamus?
I think I've pretty much got to go with the consensus here. It's good to have Sheamus back, right? And he's not looking as daft as he did the last time we saw him, so that's good.
He's ginger though, isn't he? So we can't alter the genetic.
No, but you know what I mean with the plaits with the beard and everything and all that malarkey.
Yeah.
And he's not got the mohawk anymore, has he?
No.
So that's good.
No.
No, I think it'll be quite a good match. Yeah, okay, it's probably not going to be particularly long, but old Shorty G, he's a good wrestler. I think they will both put on a decent enough show. It's going to be a bit of an unusual pairing, as people said, but I think it adds for some interesting dynamics. But I think as people saying, Sheamus is going to win because, as you say, first pay-per-view back. Yeah, it makes sense to give him a push, which they've been doing anyway. So why not?
Sheamus then. Yeah.
Yep. Long-winded way of doing
it. Hiya, Jack's D13. Thank you for coming in.
Right, Jay.
Barking.
I didn't notice, to be honest, Rach, but thank you for keeping us abreast of it. Craig Bell predicts Sheamus as well. I've got nothing really to say about this match. I think Sheamus is going to win. He's back and the win, and he's going to get it against Shorty G. I've not really got any more pontificating to do on that. I think Jason pontificates for the rest of us anyway. So there we are. So looks like we've all gone for Sheamus. Rachel, what's our next match?
Well, the next one I've written down is the Falls Count Anywhere match between Roman Reigns versus Baron Corbin.
Oh man.
Yeah, this Falls Count Anywhere. Roman Reigns versus King Corbin. It's like the feud that never dies, isn't it? Although we said that about pretty much everything Shane McMahon were involved in last year as well.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, Rach, what have you got to say about this one?
I'm getting a bit fed up with seeing them both face off against each other, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think, like you said, it's gone on far too long. The King Corbin, whatever he's calling himself nowadays, is getting a bit silly now. But as for this match, I can expect the Usos and Rude and Ziggler to probably help out with get involved somehow in the match. I think both of them are in the Rumble, so whoever wins this match will probably try and screw the other person out when it finally comes to the Rumble.
Yeah.
So I think Roman's gonna win.
Roman Reigns for the win. Victoria, the Night Owl, Reigns versus Corbin.
Once again, I'm going to agree with Rach on this one because, you know what? Roman Reigns, this whole feud with him and Corbin, I don't like Corbin to begin with. I never have. I do like his entrance music, like I said before. I'm just not fond of the guy. He's never been a good wrestler. He doesn't carry his persona well. I don't know. His character just doesn't make sense to me. Anyways, but with all the stuff that's been going on with them lately and everything else, I'm just going to say Reigns to win.
Okay.
Yep, fair enough. Prompt and to the point, Vicky. That's what I like. On the other end of the spectrum, Jason will no doubt have a half-hour lecture on the milieu and all the rhyme and reasoning behind this most epic and legendary of feuds between Roman Reigns and King Corbin. Jason, what have you got to say about it?
Yeah. Do I even care? Do you know what? I'm just going to go with Corbin because he'll be up to some sort of shenanigans and something happened backstage, and yeah.
I think another win for Corbin then.
Yeah.
Okay. Could happen. Let me have a look. Craig Stewart as well as Craig Bell. So I need to differentiate between the two Craigs. Craig Bell says, out of all the recent King of the Ring winners, Corbin has been the best. Well, he's been the most kind of pushed in a many years. I will say. Craig Stewart says, "Do you say you think we'll win the Rumble?" No, we've not got
Not
the
yet.
actual 2 Rumble matches yet, Craig Stewart. So don't worry, we haven't got there yet. So yeah, I'm hoping this feud's going to be done by the end of the Royal Rumble. Be it, this match or in the actual Rumble themselves, one of them might eliminate the other, or, just be fighting a lot during that. I'm finding it really difficult to care. Although that I can say that about pretty much anything Baron Corbin's involved in, because he just does nothing for me, really. I suppose as a heel, is he getting the right heat? Maybe, I don't know. I just think there could be better people pushed in his place, really. I mean, I dislike him enough, which is kind of what you want out of a heel. So I suppose in a way,
but not for the right reasons.
Yeah, I just don't rate him, really. I never have done. So I'm gonna say Roman Reigns for this, because I think Roman Reigns needs some sort of feud-ending win over him at some point. If it doesn't come at the Rumble, it'll probably come on a SmackDown, or he might even carry it over to Elimination Chamber or the Saudi show or whatever comes next. But I will say for this one that it's going to be Roman Reigns to win. Right, Rachel, next match, please.
The next match I've got written down is the Raw Women's Championship between Becky versus Asuka.
Becky Lynch defending the Raw Women's Championship versus one half of the Women's Tag Team Champions, Asuka. Interesting one, this. Okay, well, Rach, we'll start with you again. What have you got to say about this one?
I've been finding this rivalry interesting. I don't know. It's one of those matches that I don't know who's going to be the clear favourite to win. I don't think Asuka needs to be a double champion.
No.
I can see, I can't even remember her name. What's
Kairi Sane?
Kairi Sane.
Yeah.
I can see her getting involved somehow in this match.
Yeah.
Which leads to a DQ. So I think I'm just going to say Becky's going to retain.
Okay. Becky Lynch to retain. She's been champion for a long time. I mean, that belt she won back at WrestleMania last year. So, if she can get past Asuka, then theoretically she could be well on her way to holding that title for a year. If they let her retain it, before WrestleMania. Night Owl, Becky versus Asuka.
Well, I mean, I agree with Rach on a couple of things about, the way Becky's been really angry lately. Her eyes are open now, stuff like that. But, I mean, who was the longest reigning one so far? Was it AJ Lee or was it Nikki Bella, the longest reigning women's? Was it Nikki? Yeah. So, I mean, I could see them.
Range,
yeah. But I could see them pushing Becky now, because she's really grown into her character. I really like who she's become as her character. So I can see them pushing her to surpass Nikki now that Nikki's gone. And Asuka, she's tremendous. I love her wrestling style. Her character's phenomenal. Everything that she does gets back into the old days of, spraying the goo in the face and stuff. And I kind of like that stuff. Fun and games, but I'm going to go with Becky on this one. Just because I absolutely love Becky. She's awesome. But I think, like you said, I don't think Asuka should be having 2 belts unless it was like, how Becky had the 2 women's championship belts.
Yeah, although it was relatively tough. She dropped one of them, I think, the following pay-per-view after Mania, didn't she?
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay, so we've got 2 for Becky there. Jason, question for you first. How'd you date a Japanese wrestler?
I don't know. Go on.
Yeah, ask her.
That's awful. Yeah, flush the loo.
There you go. I'm here all week. Try the scampi.
Yeah, more's the pissy.
Having your family over, Jimmy's really done something to you, hasn't it?
I know,
Yeah,
God.
yeah.
Yeah, this is what I've resorted to. It's been a crazy week.
He's doing dad jokes.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh God, yeah. But hell, even my dad wouldn't be seen dead making those ones. But yeah, Jason, have you got for Becky versus Asuka?
Right. Well, I think it's going to be Becky. One of the reasons being is what have they done with it? I know they're giving Asuka a little bit of a push again, but what have they done with her really? I think this is just, they're not really behind her as they should be if this was a serious total contender. I just don't see it. So yeah, I for that reason alone, I'm going to go with Becky.
Okay. 3 for Becky. Yeah, this was another one. I kind of, when I first thought about it, I thought, well, he's bound to be Becky, but I don't know now. Well, even though everyone else is saying Becky, just something's making me want to go the other way for some reason. Welcome, by the way, Lost Luchas. Thank you for coming in. All right, and it says, sorry, that was the real.
Welcome.
But thank you for coming in. Nice to see you. Let me just have a look back and see if there's been any other messages that I missed, because I'm doing the usual thing of like reading things in reverse now. Craig says technically Asuka has had the longest women's reign when she had the NXT women's title. Yeah, if you include the NXT title, then yeah, absolutely. And Asuka was a phenomenal NXT champion. I'm just wondering, what was Asuka's history at the Rumble? What were they winning it a couple of years ago? Not that much came of that particularly. I just wonder if there might be some sort of mild upset, especially with Kairi Sane potentially being in the mix. And let's face it, they're not doing an awful lot with the women's tag team belts, are they? So, I mean, we had that match at TLC last month, I suppose, but it was the main event. But I think that was more for the fact that Becky and Charlotte are they weren't giving the main event to the Kabuki Warriors on merit, even though the two great. I'm still annoyed at the heels, to be honest, because I don't think Kairi Sane suits being a heel at all. She's just too sweet. Yeah, I just want to take her in my arms, and well, I won't tell you the rest. That's
Kairi Sane reminds me of Rio. Joe Rio, who did AEW.
Yeah. I mean, she's a little slip of the thing, isn't she, Rio? Like, I think I'm sure Justin Roberts he does announce the weights for the women, which is unusual because they don't tend to do that in WWE. And she's something like, I think is she like less than £100 or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, she's really little.
I know, she's just like so tiny, isn't she? But she's a great wrestler. Oh, hello, girl on fire, Cassandra, according to Vicky there. So hi, Cassandra.
Hello.
So a lot of nice, lot of new faces here, and some old familiar faces like Lost Luchas and the Craigs.
Yeah.
So thank you all for coming in.
Is Lost Luchas to do with Papa Lucha?
Yeah, I think
it's Mrs.
Yeah.
Don't recognise the name.
Fire. Papa Lucha's wife is Mama Lucha or Jenny.
Yeah.
Girl on Fire. She's an awesome girl too, but that's Cassandra.
Yeah. I do enjoy Lost Luchas. Great channel. It's not, and I know they're massive wrestling fans, but for obvious reasons. So it's great to have you here. I've got to make a you know what? I'm really going back and forth on that. It seems to have been an easy decision for you three, but for some reason this isn't for. You know what? This is probably the wrong thing to do. I should probably play it safe and go with the herd. But go against, even because I think there might be more to happen in Elimination Chamber. But I'm going to say Asuka is going to become the new Raw Women's Champion at the Royal Rumble. Yeah, I've said it. It's locked in.
I'm wrong. No, I hope I'm wrong.
Well, I mean, I certainly do, because that means I'll definitely get this point. But yeah, but even if I picked Becky, I am a big Asuka fan, a big Kabuki Warriors fan. I don't think they should be heels because I think they're too great. Well, yeah, I won't go into all that again. They're both very attractive ladies. But, yeah.
Hey!
There we are. So, yeah, Asuka for the win, says Jimmy Barnes. Good old Jimmy. What a guy. Next match, please, Rach.
Well, the next match I've got is the Universal Championship between the Fiend versus Daniel Bryan.
Jason got really excited for this, so I hope it won't disappoint you, Jason. But yeah, Universal title. It is the Fiend, isn't it? Rather than normal Bray Wyatt, it is the Fiend.
As far as I know,
yeah, the Fiend versus Daniel Bryan. Rachel, who have you got for this one? Oh, Begins is in. Hi, Rickles. How are you, mate? You all right?
I haven't been really watching too much of this rivalry. I know I saw a clip this morning of the contract signing, where Fiend signed his contract in fake blood, blood, and so I did watch that. I still don't think Bray. I don't know. I don't think they're going to take the title of Bray just yet. I think they're going to let him have the belt until possibly WrestleMania. So I think, well, Daniel Bryan's got Kane watching his back now, hasn't he?
True.
Will Kane get involved? Do you know what? I'm going to say Bray the Fiend retained, but by DQ.
So basically, Bryan for the win.
Right. So you're predicting Bryan for the win. I mean, we don't give extra points for DQs and countouts, but yeah,
you should.
If only.
Well, yeah, I mean, the thing is, if we start going down that road, then like we're gonna
too complicated.
It'll make predicting not harder as such, but we'll just be spending even more time think about booking decisions and stuff in our heads. I think we should try and keep it relatively simple. But I mean, obviously, it adds context to your prediction when you say, "Oh, it's going to be by DQ." So that's it's good for us to know that, obviously. So yeah, that is technically a prediction for Daniel Bryan from Ray. So fair enough. Hi, Darren Izzard, Poptimist, isn't it, Darren? That's you. Welcome, Poptimist. Thank you for coming in. I'm Phoenix Poptastic as well. Hiya, Phoenix. Thank you for coming in, mate. Lovely to see you. Yeah, it is the night time, Phoenix. It is nearly 9:00 p.m. there. Here, sorry. I guess where you are, you're around. Is it Arizona area? Is it? So that's going to be at least 6 hours behind us. Phoenix predicts AJ Styles. I mean, that we'll get onto the men's rumble very soon. But this is for the Universal title that we're predicting. Raters just said a DQ win for Daniel Bryan. Vicky, what have you got to say for this one?
I think it's this one is definitely not that hard to predict for me. I think I'm going to go with Daniel. That's my prediction. And I agree with Rach. I think somebody's either going to interfere somehow, or they're going to get counted out, or he's going to drag him under the ring. Like, something's going to happen. But I don't see them, like she said, taking the belt away from the Fiend yet. So I'm going to agree with her on that one. I'm going to go with Daniel.
So you think Daniel will win via sort of DQ or counter?
Like some kind of interference.
Match this.
I don't know.
I will double check on that. There's some stipulation here. I should have had these up on my phone ready. Really.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Check on
It's not going to take me long. I've nearly got matches. Yeah, it is a strap match. So you'd have thought a strap match is going to be no DQ. They could be DQs. I mean, bloody hell. I mean, we had that Hell in a Cell match last year that ended in a no contest, which was an utter shambles. But I mean, we'll assume that it's going to be, even though it's a strap match, we'll assume that there will be disqualifications allowed, and I doubt there'll be count outs. But there we are. So before we go to Jason, Phoenix has predicted Daniel Bryan, so that's a lot of love for D-Bry in here tonight. So that's nice. Yeah. Oh, hi James, Mr. Jam. Hi mate. Thank you for coming in. And, yeah, he confirms that it's a strap match. Thank you for that, James. As well, he also said, right, Jason, who have you got for the Fiend versus Daniel Bryan?
I don't know, to be honest with you. You say it's easily one of cool, but I don't know that it is because of everything that's been going on. You know, the whole change in Daniel Bryan. Obviously, he's gone back to his old style, like he used to be, more in Ring of Honor. Oh, crikey! Do you know what? I think I'm gonna go with Bryan. Whatever. Something's going to happen. Whether it'll win outright or what, I don't know. With a strap match, it's difficult to tell. But yeah, I think I'm going to go with Bryan. No particular reason. Wow. It's just a feeling. Got a feeling.
Yeah, kind of like how I had with Asuka. Really, there's just something that's making me think. Yeah, Becky's going to lose the title at least for a few weeks. But okay, so 3 for Daniel Bryan, although obviously Rach and Vicky aren't convinced that the Fiend will be dropping the title, but if he does drop the title to Daniel Bryan, it still classes as a win in the prediction contest for you two, so that's good news. Well, yeah. Strap match, yeah, I remember. I think WCW had a bit of a thing for strap matches 20-odd years ago. Although most of theirs are pretty awful. I think the feet. I still think. Well, I will maybe talk about my theory for WrestleMania main event later on, but I still think the Fiend or Bray Wyatt is going to be defending that Universal title come WrestleMania. So I'm going to go against all of you. This is probably a really awful start for me for the year, like going against the majority. But you know, I'm trying to be brave about it.
It could be what you need, mate.
Well, we'll know by we'll know by Monday morning, I suppose.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm going to go with the Fiend for the win, and I'll be happy if Daniel Bryan wins the title again, although I don't think he's quite in good enough shape to have a long title run. So, he's certainly past his best years, isn't he? Mr. Jam asks, is it a 4 corners touch strap match or just a whip each other? I would have assumed it was like just use it as a weapon to whip.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Normally, whip each other with, but
normally if it's 4 corners, they announce it as such. Yeah. Don't they? It's not a strap match; it's a 4 corners match.
You'd have thought so. I mean, I can't really remember the last strap match WWE had. It was a fair while ago, I think. James also said if it's pin Fiend all the way, if it's 4 corners, Bryan could win. Well, yeah, I mean that's a good point, really, because it could be one of those sort of almost like a bait and switch, really, where they tell you what the rules are right before the match starts. They have the ring announcer, running them down. Oh, you must touch all 4 corners, and then everyone's like, oh, well, yeah, Daniel could win it after all. So, yeah. The last one you thought was the Caribbean strap match with Savio Vega and God, that was some years ago. I thought they had one since then, surely. Yeah. All right. Eddie versus JBL. Yeah, that was the. I mean, that was a Texas bull rope match, wasn't it? Los Luchas. It was that was the one. Was that the one where Eddie Guerrero had a massive? He was really gushing blood, or was that the previous match at Judgment Day '04? He was. I think he went into like shock. He just lost so much blood. I remember watching.
Something like that.
I think it was, and he won by DQ, or JBL won by DQ, and it just the amount of blood coming out of Eddie Guerrero. It was oh god, it was an image and a half. That. Well, anyway. So, yeah, we've all predicted for the Universal title. We know there isn't a WWE title match, and I guess we'll get onto the reasons why at some point. Rach, what's the next match you've got for us, please?
The next match I've got written down is the 13 women Royal Rumble. And at the moment, as it stands, there's only 9 women have been confirmed for it. So we've got Charlotte, Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross, Sarah Logan, Natalia Carmella, or whatever her bloody name is, Dana Brooke, Sasha Deville, and Mandy Rose.
Right, I did hear.
This one, then, Rach.
Yeah.
That's got to be Butterbeer.
Yeah.
I don't know why Butterbeer would be in the women's Royal Rumble. I don't know. Like Butterbean.
I did hear that Shayna Baszler may well be involved.
Yes.
Yeah, well,
It's unconfirmed, but she may well be involved.
Yeah. I mean, let's face it. When there's like 20 odd spots to fill, I think it's pretty safe to say there's going to be a fairly sizable NXT presence in this match, because you could argue that NXT has got a deeper women's roster than either Raw or SmackDown put together, really. Well, I think they have anyway. I mean, but I'm a mark for NXT. You know, I am. I really enjoy it. I've been enjoying it a lot more than Dynamite. Last few Dynamites I've watched, I'm glad I've seen them, but they've not done an awful lot. Because NXT does keep me kind of on the edge of my seat most weeks. But I know I'm going off topic a little bit here, but I just wanted to throw that out there. So this is, well, I do quite like it when we have to predict the actual Rumble match, because unless you know there's like a guy or a girl who's being properly pushed and you know they're going to win and no one else stands a chance. It was a bit like that last year with Seth Rollins, certainly. I think this year is a little more. I think this year is a lot more difficult to predict for the men's one, and and the women's ones. You could say that's difficult to predict at the moment because there's not been many people announced for it. But we can pick whoever we want, as long as it's someone who gender-wise will qualify for the women's Royal Rumble. So Jason, you can't. The honky tonk man. For this
I was going to have Santino. I was going to have Santino turn up again.
Well, yeah, I won't put it past them. But so Rach, you have a choice of at least 30 women, or whatever, whoever of 30 out of the however many WWE are employing, and any special guests. Who do you think is going to win the women's Royal Rumble?
Out of the 9 that's been announced, I would like to see Nikki Cross win it.
Yeah,
I think she deserves to get out of Alexa's. Little Miss Bliss is Shadow.
I think my head. I don't think.
Yeah, careful.
If I say it, I'll set her off. But I think you three are actually all right to say a name there. So
yeah.
But so is that your prediction then, Rach? Nikki Cross?
Yeah, I'm going to say Nikki Cross because I don't think they're doing much with her at the moment, and I think she might do it. I think she's gonna win.
Pop Tart, welcome Tarty, thank you for coming in. Pop Tart predicts Ronda to win the women's Rumble and Jason to win the men's. Might have a few quid. Might have a few quid on not suitable for mum. Actually, I'd be a nice little earner if that comes through.
I'll kick everybody's asses.
Yeah, you know, Jason's only about 4 foot something. I mean, how's he gonna get the 6 footers over?
You might be surprised.
Oh, he can
You
kick
know,
their
even,
kneecaps out.
Even Hornswoggle looks down on him.
Yeah. I'll give him a friendly reach around. That'll get them out of the ring.
Oh, God. No, Jason, just do your usual irritable bowel movements. That'll get everyone out.
Yeah. That's fair enough.
Have some chicken wings a couple of hours before showtime, and it's yours, mate. You're there because everyone will just be in and out. Like, oh no, we're not staying in here with him.
Yeah, I'll go and see Otis. Otis to help me out with that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Check out Lee's comment.
Yeah.
Right.
JK Hornswoggle.
Yeah.
Los Luchas, Papa Lucha says Cain Velasquez eliminates Brock. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of intriguing possibilities. I mean, we'll get onto the men's one soon. Well, I mean, we need to do the women's predictions first. Rachel's predicted Nikki Cross. Vicky, who have you got for the women's rumble? Yeah, I do like predicting these. I think it's quite, because it's like a lottery a lot of the time. It's just nice. Yeah. Almost sort of pick a name out of the hat, really.
Can you tell me who the entrants are again so far, Rach? Sorry.
That's all right.
Charlotte, Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross, Sarah Logan, Natalia. I can't even think of her name, but at the moment, R-Truth's best friend.
Okay.
And Mandy Rose.
Yeah, it's not chamomile tea.
Yeah, I know. It's Carmella. Yeah, you had it right, Rach. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I agree with Jimmy on predicting these. It's so much fun. And with the women's, we don't know as so many of the entrants, right? So we're like scratching our heads going, okay, who's going to come up next? It's actually going to be kind of cool the way they used to do it with the original Royal Rumbles. As to now, we pretty much know all the men that are going to be in it. If Shayna Baszler's in, I would see her winning it. But as we don't know her yet, I'm going to say Nikki Cross.
If you think she's going to win it, then you can pick her. You can pick anyone you like. That's the fun thing about it, really. If you want to pick a complete surprise, then
if you want to,
I'm going to pick Shayna Baszler then. As much as I like, Nikki Cross, I'm going to take Shayna Baszler because I really like her. I like her toughness and everything else, and yeah. So there we go.
I think that's a good shout, Vicky. I might be one, a heart kind of pick, but it's also a head one in a way because she's just been so dominant on NXT, and you'd think that she's gonna go to Raw or SmackDown at some point and get a big push. Let me just have a look at the comments. Los Luchas is saying Baszler versus Lynch at WrestleMania, and that sounds like a great WrestleMania match to me.
Awesome.
Mr. Jam says Naomi, Nia Jax, and Ruby Riott are all set to return. So there's a few more that could possibly show up. So and then we've got sort of NXT people as well who I think will be put in, if anything, to make the numbers up. Jason, the women's Royal Rumble. Who have you got for this one?
It's a tough one because like you said, we don't know who's there. I did have a little look and see who was set to return, who's been signed, all the rest of it, but there's no one that sort of really jumps out at you. That you think, they're going to set up. I think Shayna's a fairly safe bet that she will be in it because they've had all the business with. She lost the title, didn't she? But she came back. She came back, and she's come back quite strong.
Yeah.
And usually, the way these things go is after you lose your NXT title, they quite often get called up.
Yep.
Oh,
I mean that has happened, but with NXT now being more supposedly on an equal footing to Raw and SmackDown, you have to wonder. I mean, I still think that'll happen to an extent, so I'm not disagreeing with you by any stretch.
It's tough. I'm trying to think of someone else. I'm trying to think outside the box, and I can't think of anybody. So I'll go for Shayna. I'll go for Shayna.
She's a really good pick, and you and Vicky are not the first two people I've seen, on the internet who are predicting her by any stretch. So
she's getting the general consensus of opinion on our chat here today.
Yeah.
No.
Pop Tart said there should be if whoever gets the most wrong, clean Jesus' toilet, maybe. Oh,
okay.
Oh God, I've really got to win it now.
Yeah.
I know a lot of channels like Cultaholic. I know when they do their predictions, like this is like a loser's forfeit, isn't there? Yeah. Well, I might email them and suggest that. So have a trip down Southampton. Yeah, I've got a forfeit for you.
My toilet is actually reasonably clean.
Reasonably.
I'll have you know. Yeah. Reasonably.
Yeah.
Hey, all right. If you want me to be graphic, I'll be graphic.
That's like sort of being not guilty beyond reasonable doubt. It's like, well, he did it, but we can't prove it.
I didn't do it.
He says he cleaned his laugh, but we'll never know.
Yeah.
Right.
Complete gits,
yeah.
Yep.
30-man Royal Rumble, women Royal Rumble. Sorry about that, gender police. God, you know what? I've been thinking for weeks. This is Shayna Baszler's for the taking. She came back in that little number one contenders NXT battle royal that was that this week or week before.
I think it was last week.
Before, yeah, last week. Yeah.
Before, yeah.
And I mean, she was like, she got eliminated by, I can't remember her name, like a fairly newcomer.
It was the woman with the green hair.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Wild Heart was Blackheart.
Shocky Blackheart. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was, maybe that was a bit of a red herring. Like, look how easy it is for Shayna to be eliminated in this. But then, she ended up dominating the actual Rumble. However, I've been looking at the comments, and people have been reminding me there's been a little bit of talk of Ronda Rousey coming back. And obviously, I mean, she made a debut, albeit not debut, but she kind of came to WWE at the Royal Rumble a couple of years ago. I'll look at that a bit. I just need to try and get it right in my head, because I'm leaning towards Ronda Rousey, but I've been saying for weeks now this is Shayna Baszler's. No, I just saw the conversation. No, I'm going with Shayna Baszler. It'd be cool to see Ronda Rousey back, but Shayna Baszler is who I'm saying. Jason, write that down. It's locked in. I don't want to think about it anymore, because I might just start going back and forth and change my mind too much. Right, let me have a look at some of these comments there. It says, do you think NXT is not a third brand? You think the WWE is using the third brand as a cover-up for all the main roster returns, like Breezango, Finn Balor? It's really still developmental. Yeah. So we've predicted the Women's Rumble. Hang on. Yeah, and Poptimus Darren has predicted Bayley. So, yep, that's. Well, they could do it, I suppose, how like it was last year, where I suppose Bayley could lose the title and then she becomes an entrant in the Rumble. I mean, it's kind of like how it happened with Becky Lynch last year. I don't think she had a title to lose, did she? Because Becky was in a title match last year. And then she was like a surprise entrant in the Rumble.
Wasn't that?
And then Liv got injured. That's why Becky came in and won it.
Yeah, that's right. It's good. It's a good job you pay attention to all these things, Rach, because my memory's not good enough for this. Like, yeah. Although Rach is like a sort of like her brain must be like this like massive wrestling encyclopedia. If you sliced open Rach's head, it'll have the history of wrestling in it.
The old Macho Man pops out going, "Oh yeah!"
Yeah, quite what that had happened first and foremost. I'm not sure, but yeah, that's a lovely image nonetheless.
Sorry,
James mentioned it being something start the build to the 4. We have been talking about that seemingly for like nearly 2 years or so now, haven't we? Like this horsewomen versus horsewomen thing. I don't know. I'd still like to see it. I just don't know if it's a big enough priority for WWE now. So let's face it, 2 of the horsewomen, Jessamine and the girl whose name I always forget. I mean, they don't wrestle very often, do they? They kind of just lackeys most of the time.
Yeah.
I haven't seen
I mean, you'd imagine if Shayna goes to Raw or SmackDown soon, then they'll go with her, just, because they're always with her. They don't see much point them staying behind, even though, as wrestlers go, we've not really seen their full potential. So, but yeah, so there we are. So I'm assuming, Rach, we've only got one more match left to predict.
Yeah.
I wonder what that could be.
We know what it is. Please tell us what it is.
Well, as it stands, there's 27 men have been confirmed for the 30-man Royal Rumble.
Roll crikey, here we go.
28 if you include Jason.
AJ Styles, Eric Rowan, Randy Orton, Rey Mysterio, Jay, Drew McIntyre, Elias, King Corbin, Dolph Ziggler, Otis, Tucker, Rusev, Bobby Lashley, Aleister Black, Buddy Murphy, Braun Strowman, Shinsuke, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, Samoa Joe, Kofi Kingston, Big E, R-Truth, John Morrison, and The Miz.
Okay, and hopefully there might be a couple of surprise entrants left for there as well. So yeah, I think this is, in a way, it's the hardest. It's the hardest men's rumble to predict in quite a few years, because last year's was relatively easy. And although I was I was teetering between Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre last year, but that push for Drew never really materialised, and obviously I made the right decision by going with Seth. And I mean, although I wasn't predicting with people publicly the year before, it was kind of not obvious, but it was. In fact, I actually had a bet on Nakamura to win, and I won. I didn't, not more, only like £1 or something, and then I had a bet. Quid on Asuka, and they both won, so that was nice. But I didn't dare have any bets on last year's, and I'm certainly don't think I'm going to have any bets on this year's. So yeah, 30-man Royal Rumble. We know Brock Lesnar is going to be entrant number 1. I mean, that's bizarre. Well, I don't know if I would have liked to have seen him defend his title in the match either. Oh, it's a weird one, this. I want to hear what you guys are going to say about it. Rach, the 30-man Rumble, what are your thoughts?
I don't even know why Brock Lesnar's in this match when he's the WWE champion. Not unless they're unifying the title. But I can't see it really happening.
I doubt it very much.
It's hard to say who the surprise is going to be and who the other names unconfirmed. It's hard one.
It's difficult, which is good in a way. It's going to make it more exciting, because if there's this kind of genuine feeling that we really don't know, it could be one of a number of people. I think that is good for the Rumble. Much as I enjoyed seeing Shinsuke win it 2 years ago, towards certainly like the last week or so before that pay-per-view, everyone was predicting him, and then it took kind of a little bit of the excitement out of it, even though it was nice to see him win it. But, so I think now we're just like almost 24 hours from the Rumble, and we're not sure at all who's going to win. I think that's good, really.
Yeah, I don't think Seth's going to win it this year.
No.
No, because you know what? I think I'm going to go with your last pick from last year. I'm going to go St. Drew.
Drew McIntyre, I would certainly be up for that. I think he deserves a push. Like, to look at him, he's exactly the sort of man Vince McMahon has a ham shanker. Sorry, let's not think about.
Hey,
I love big muscly men.
Right, it's a five knuckle shuffle, as Cena would say.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, I mean that's that's that. I think that's a decent shout actually, Rach. Yeah. And he's kind. I think he's pretty much turned babyface on Raw now, hasn't he, McIntyre? Seems to have anyway.
Yeah,
A little bit.
as much as he can.
Maybe that he's sort of kind of still in a sort of tweener holding position at the moment, maybe. But Craig Stewart wants Dolph to get another title. So, I don't know. Dolph Ziggler for me is I was over him like a few years ago. I think if he could have been a really big star, but they just were so non-committal with him after a while. I think his time's been and gone a long time ago. Drew McIntyre was Vince's chosen one once upon a time, James. Exactly. Yeah, there's been predictions that Edge is gonna make a cameo. I wouldn't thought he would have won it. He might have a couple of like sort of nice nostalgic eliminations, and he's denying that he's going to be there. But I suppose he'll have to really, because if he denies it and then he shows up, it's still kind of like a surprise. And if he denies it and he doesn't show up, then he's not lied to people. He can't really say, "Yeah, I'm going to be there," because he's either ruined a surprise or he's lying. So that's all. He's got to say, "No, I'm not going to be there." Vicky, right, the 30-man Royal Rumble. What have you got for us?
For me, it was kind of a toss-up between Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton for me because of the way they've been pushing Randy lately as well. They've been really putting him front and center in a few things, but and I certainly don't think Kevin Owens is going to win it because he's still got this rivalry going with AJ Styles and stuff like that and whatever else. I'm going to say Drew, but I also think even if Edge does come back, I mean, Xavier Woods could be coming back as well. So, because I saw him on a show the other day and he looks great, but whether he's ready, I don't know. But like you said, there's still 3 we don't know. Yeah, I mean, it could be Hornswoggle for all we know, right? Yeah. Like, he just go under Brock's feet and eliminate him. But I don't see Cain Brock winning this.
I think Cain Velasquez could be a surprise entrant.
I was thinking the same thing. I was just going to say that Cain Velasquez coming in and going after Brock.
I mean, he's the one to eliminate Brock, and then I don't know. That could be one of those things where like he ends up eliminating himself at the same time, sort of thing.
Yeah, but doesn't care because at least Brock's gone.
Yeah, a bit like when it was Mick Foley and Randy Orton all them years ago.
Exactly. But I'm going to go with Drew. I think that's my thought too.
Two for Drew. Trying to think if Drew McIntyre won the Rumble, like what title? You'd theoretically be going for the WWE title as he's a Raw guy. So current WWE champion. I mean, Lesnar versus. I mean, if they're pushing towards Lesnar versus Velasquez, you'd have thought Lesnar.
Who's done what? What's Vicky seen?
Rach has seen it too. Just Craig Bell made a really nice comment about you, Jason.
Where are we?
Oh, Craig, how dare you? How dare you say that? Everyone knows Hornswoggle's at least a couple of inches taller. And speaking of
potato.
Well, yeah. Although Hornswoggle wasn't actually Irish, by the way. I find that a little bit offensive, actually, mate. Come on. Right, Jason, what's your for the 30-man Royal Rumble?
Well, I already know I'm picking. I knew I was picking ages ago. I think what I think it was Rach you said, didn't you, about Orton and Drew? Right, I think it will come down to those. I think it will come down to those two. To be honest with you, the way they've been building it, they've got this thing going on with Brock as well. There's a bit of argy-bargy there. So I would love Drew to win it. I would really love him to win it. I think he deserves it. I wouldn't say he got screwed out of it last year, but
no, because I mean it was kind of Seth Rollins for the taking, weren't it?
Last year? No, I'm going to go with Drew. It's mainly going with my heart.
Wow.
But I do think there's a bit of, if you're thinking about it, we could see a double elimination as the last one. Randy and Drew go over the top rope at the same time, and then we have a three-way at Mania.
Yeah, I mean, it could happen.
And the reason I say that is because I think it could possibly be potentially Randy's last shot at a title.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
So think on that.
Yeah, I've got to be honest. I don't want to see Randy Orton in another WrestleMania main event. I've got nothing against I've got nothing against him. Still having a career and still being a full-time guy. But for me, I've just had kind of enough of Randy Orton as the guy. Quite some years ago. I think he now needs to be in sort of a role where he's sort of featured a bit less frequently, and it's just like so that when he does come around, when it's a Randy Orton match, it feels like a big deal. Being just another guy, albeit a guy who's more at the upper end of the card. Well, the Rumble. Oh dear. Well, it's lovely that you've all picked Drew McIntyre because as much as I wanted to pick him last year, I just didn't think I'd be wanting to pick him at all this year. I still think he deserves a push, but after nothing really happening for him much last year, I didn't really have him in my thoughts for 2020. Cain Velasquez, I don't think he's going to win the Rumble, but I would have thought he'll be one of the other entrants. Edge, he'll probably turn up and have a bit of a nostalgia spot. NXT guys, possibly. There's not many spaces left. Like one NXT guy, it could be someone like could be Adam Cole, possibly. Although as NXT champion, I think it
we could have Kane. We could have Kane versus Kane.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Well, you're looking smug about that, Jason. You've just found two people with the same name. I mean, it's
Yeah, I know, but it's what WWE.
It's not that exciting, mate.
No, but you know what WWE are like. I'm saying it's the sort of thing they would jump on. It's the sort of thing they would jump on.
Yeah.
I'm only saying, like, for a brief second, it'd be like, one eliminates the other or whatever. And that's it, but yeah. Who knows?
Yeah.
Anyway, carry on.
Right. Thanks, mate. Yeah. Whose fucking stream is this? Like, sorry, man. Oh God, I don't know. Brock Lesnar, he started at number 1, quite a way in, but he's not going to win it. I'm almost certain of that. He's probably one of the bookies' favourites, but no, he's not going to win it. Especially seeing as how the title isn't on the line. I mean, my guy, the person I just thought, and they keep pushing him as like, a former Royal Rumble winner on SmackDown is. I just thought, Roman Reigns, even though he'll be, doing double duty, he was my pick for the last few weeks, really. And everyone's picking Drew McIntyre, and I kind of feel bad that I don't really want to pick him this time. I'd love him to win, but I can't see it. I saw it more last year, and it was less likely last year, probably. So let me look at Mr. Jump plus the inevitable guessing of CM Punk. Oh yeah, we've got to have that. Yeah, CM Punk for 30, of course. So my pick. Oh shit! This is horrible because last year it was only between two, and then I went with Seth. That was easy enough. The year before was easy. Probably the year before that, whoever that was, I can't remember now. That one bloody Triple H one, was it? No, I think that was year prior. Anyway, Roman Reigns. Right, I've said it. Roman Reigns. Right, there we are. Lock it in. It is done. I'm probably totally wrong there, but I think it's going to be Roman Reigns versus The Fiend for the Universal title at WrestleMania. So even if Reigns doesn't win the Rumble,
I think that happened anyway. To be fair.
Yeah, because they still want to have Reigns as the number one guy if not in the company, then on SmackDown certainly. And obviously all this bollocks with Corbin's kind of diminished things overall. But
actually, if you're saying that, it makes sense. Corbin beats Roman, so Roman they're both in the Rumble. Roman eliminates Corbin for a bit of revenge and goes on to win.
Well. Yeah. I mean, that is certainly a scenario I could see.
Yeah,
but I feel really bad because everyone's picked Drew McIntyre, and like I was like sort of Team Drew last year, and but I've got to go with my head on this one. I've made a couple of slightly iffy and dodgy predictions with Asuka and what have you. So. You know, I don't know. I don't know if I'm playing it safe with Reigns though, because it's a difficult one to predict, isn't it?
I think
I'm really excited for this men's Rumble. I will say.
Yeah.
As long as bloody Cena doesn't turn up, it'll be all right.
Gosh, no. I'm so done with him.
He's done it before.
I mean, James is wanting to know who's going to face Shane McMahon at WrestleMania. That's the big. It's not like never mind championships or number one contenderships. Yeah, people should be fighting for the right to face bloody Shane McMahon.
That's right.
But there we are. So
if he comes out. If Shane McMahon comes out, I'm turning the whole thing off. I'm done.
Yeah, I'd rather have his mum turn up.
Yeah, exactly.
To the network there and then, and like then she's got to email and tweet WWE. I've just cancelled.
You know what's going to happen now, don't you? Now you say that. Stephanie's going to turn up in the Women's Rumble.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'd like her better than her brother, though.
Yeah. Shane was all right in his heyday. He had some good matches, but no.
Yeah,
no.
But his heyday, let's not forget, was nearly 20 years ago.
Well, the King of the Ring with Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
Well, every time Shane's on, there's almost a pool in the ring every time he wrestles. He drips like a faucet.
Well, so does Joe, bless him. Danny Samoa Joe sweats like nobody's business.
Drake Stewart asks who's facing the dog food, though. Yeah. Hopefully there won't be any dog food gimmick. Do you remember that dog poo match they had on SmackDown years ago between Dog and it was like Triple H or The Rock? Might have been The Rock actually. A dog poo match.
Yeah, it was on Triple H and Stephanie, wasn't it?
Can't remember. Don't remember.
I don't think so. The one I'm thinking of was it was
Dolph Ziggler and Vicky Guerrero, wasn't it?
Oh, I'm going back 20 years when the British Bulldog was involved. It might have been him versus Triple H, but The Rock interfered, and I think he rock bottomed the Bulldog into a load of dog poo. And talking about poo so much, then we have to hear our expert on the subject.
I didn't say a damn thing.
No, I want you to, mate. This is your area. If this was mine, and Magnus, it's John Humphries. And your specialist subject, excrement. Human, animal.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, Jimmy has me performing like a bloody sea lion on a chat channel, and he asks me to fart deliberately.
On the chat channel.
That's the in joke. For those of you that don't know,
Yeah, you did it though, didn't you?
I am a bloody performing sea lion. Oh, Jason's gonna fart. Yeah, all right.
I don't think I was holding a gun to his head about it. You know, people are free to make their own choices. And you know you love an audience. You're a performer at heart, albeit one from the anus. And on that note, on that bombshell, yeah, Craig's on about that. Yeah, dog. I always thought it was on SmackDown. They might have done something similar at Rebellion or Insurrection. But yeah, so that was the Royal Rumble 2020 predictions. We've all made our predictions. There's going to be a very interesting show. Probably quite a long show tomorrow. So I'm going to load on caffeine, get plenty of coffee down me tomorrow night, and stay up for it. I love seeing the Rumble live.
I would be watching, but I've got a hospital appointment, so I can't do that.
Right, so yeah, we will have to be a little bit careful with spoilers in the chat group in case Jason. Oh, but Jason, you could always like avoid the chat group if to be on the safe side. But you know, I won't put any spoilers in because obviously you might want to come in and say something to us. So you know, which is fair enough. But so yeah, but just let us know when you've seen it, mate. But yeah, I want to thank my co-panelist as always.
Look what Craig's put.
Can I just mention, right? There was a surprise thing in the picks, right? Jay said about Keith Lee, which was interesting.
Yeah, that could be too. Yeah,
you never know.
I think if he was a surprise entrant, he'd do well. He wouldn't win it. I mean, he's only just North American title, so I wouldn't pick him as the actual
Keith Lee.
He certainly had a great showing at Survivor Series. But I want to thank my co-panelists, Rach Kappa, the Night Owl, great show. Thank you all. Been very entertaining. Thank you to everyone in the chat, everyone who's been in throughout the evening. Appreciate every single one of you. The Craigs, James, Darren was in earlier, Los Luchas, Pop Tart, anyone else I forgot to mention. Thank you all so much.
Is it Popsicle or Poptimist?
And yeah, Poptimist and the Pop Tart was in as well. So yeah, there we are. Pay-per-view. I can't remember if I think it's Elimination Chamber or is it the Saudi one that's coming before that? I'm not sure.
Give me a second, and I should be able to tell you because I've got last year's predictions. I should be able to make an educated guess. Yeah, Elimination Chamber and Fast Lane were the two last year.
Yeah, but like the Saudi show that's in a unusual point in the calendar this time, isn't there? So
it might just be fast. It might just be Fast Lane. Then there may be no Elimination Chamber.
I will tell you the next pay-per-view after Royal Rumble is it is naturally it says Elimination Chamber, but I'm sure there's the Saudi one supposed to be before that because Elimination Chamber is March the 8th. And they haven't even put a bloody Fast Lane in, but I'm sure there's supposed to be Fast Lane as well. So yeah, I don't think they've fully finalised it, but yeah. So it might be the Saudi show, could be Fast Lane, one of those two, maybe Elimination Chamber, but there's bound to be something. Yeah, it's got to be the Saudi show, whatever that's going to be called. So I'm sure the panel show for that one. Do please join us for it, but it's time for us to say goodbye. Royal Rumble tomorrow if you're watching it on whatever platform or method you might be watching it. Thank you all again for joining us in this show, and we'll see you next time. Cheers, everyone. See ya. Bye. Bye. I need to try and end this now.